Hello, sumo fans. It feels like it's been forever.
It's been a while. That February month is just no good.
It is the worst month of the year.
We've powered through it, and lo and behold, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and March Basho is here.
Very, very exciting. Glad that we can be back with you guys. And the tournament's only a few days away now.
Yeah, it's next Sunday. Started out, I was looking at the calendar, I was like, how long do I got? And I was like, oh, not long!
Right.
Not long!
Friday, NHK World does their preview, so you get some sumo content.
Up front.
Yep. So we're going to do what we always do, which is start at the top with Terunofuji. 11-4. We suspected he had an injury. Chris Sumo's video confirms that, was it a foot injury?
It was an ankle, like the right ankle that he was using to brace.
So, he was injured at the end, and hopefully, it didn't seem like it was a severe injury, but it did affect his performance, and we knew that was coming sooner or later.
Yeah, the Terunofuji is still dominant. That's still 11-4. It's a very powerful record. And now it's just the first 3 or 4 days, I'm gonna be like a little leery, a little concerned. I'm just like, I just want to see him like throw somebody with that kind of casual show of strength. I'll be like, okay, everything's fine.
Right.
But if he comes out of the gate and he's looking a little shaky, I'll be like, oh no.
The other factor is he got COVID and he was in the hospital. So he got one of the, I don't know if it was severe or if it was just out of precautions, but there's been no updates on him, whereas there's been updates on the other guys about how he feels about his condition. He's a very secretive guy leading up to tournaments.
He probably has to get into the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I am assuming
all is well.
All is well. There'll be a bit of a little trepidation again out of the gate.
Yeah.
But I just assume whatever poor sucker they throw him up against the first few days, like we're gonna know immediately. And I am looking forward to another dominant performance, and it'll be fun because those a few of those matches near the end feel like some people got a pass.
Yeah, they didn't get the full strength
Terunofuji. Yeah.
So hopefully all is well, and we get to see healthy, no injury Terunofuji for 15 days.
15 days. That's
to really test everybody out and see where their level's at.
Yeah. Knock on wood, the dynasty reign continues.
Yes. And for how long? Nobody knows. So next we have our unfortunate Ozeki Shodai. He was 6-9. That is something you don't see every day with an Ozeki. Typically, they will pull out before they present a record like that. I'm not really sure. Honestly, I'm not really sure if it's because he wasn't injured, so you just don't do it, and all the other times the Ozekis are injured, or if, the other guy's like, I'm not going to have a showing like this, and Shodai's like, no, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. It's a weird mixture of, it is a good point that he didn't pull out. Maybe that shows that it was completely mental, and that Shodai didn't have an injury to fake.
Right.
On the same time, maybe this is Shodai's honor showing through. Maybe this is if I'm going to lose, I'm going to fall on my sword, which is I can see that angle of that. Maybe he's sort of taking the pride, taking his lumps. That being said, if he gets another 6-9,
he's done.
He's done.
Well, he goes to Ozeki Wake, but
yeah, I don't.
That's hard.
I don't see a 10-win anything in this current state of Shodai. The double-digit win Shodai has not shown up yet.
Well, we had talked about Shodai when he first became Ozeki, and he was showing a couple of good tournaments. It was a little bit of a surprise because old Shodai always had the skill to be better, but just didn't have, couldn't put it together to become Ozeki. This kind of looks like the old Shodai.
He's regressing.
Yeah, and it's the mental pressure. He can't handle it. I don't know what's going to help him handle it.
Well, nobody does at this point. It's one of those unsolved mysteries, and he needs a turned corner. He needs a he needs to sip the power water from Abi or something.
Right.
He needs that spark, and at present time, I don't see a way out for him, which is depressing. I see him just maybe scraping 8 wins. Like, for me, that feels almost optimistic.
I know, and he also got COVID, and he was talking about in his interview that he doesn't feel like his breathing is back to normal.
Yeah, that's a problem. The COVID, ran amok through, half the Sumo Association?
It was over 200 people.
It was so that is going to be sort of like a lingering cloud.
For almost everybody.
For a good portion, not just the top 42, but the coaches, the lower divisions.
Refs.
And then
Gyoji, yeah.
And then there'll be the chain reaction, like training partners missing. Time in the hospital when you're not training. Maybe people are behind. I feel like Shodai doesn't need this.
Right. He really needed to be the one guy who didn't get sick.
Yeah. Shodai needed to be afflicted with chocolate ice cream, not with COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure that's going to affect him at the very least mentally. I'm assuming he's coming in real mentally shaky.
I think it's if he can get those 8 wins before, I'd say, day 11, day 12. So if he's 8-3, it feels like he needs to get it early.
Yeah, he needs to power through, get as many wins as he can up front, and then it's fine.
And yeah, just get enough of a buffer.
Right, to survive, to fight another day.
We can't get an Asaniyama start where you're 0-4 and then rally it back. This is not that kind of tournament for Shodai. So I maintain that I'm gunning for him. That we've got to hold on to our Ozeki. They're slipping through our fingers. They're like stars blinking out of the sky.
They really are. And the thing is, when we started watching sumo, it was the Takayasu Goeido years. So this is really our first time seeing guys rise up and just fall out, and not because they're near retirement or whatever. Goeido retired as soon as he lost his Ozeki. And Takayasu, well, he's our first introduction to it. But watching the whole Shodai Takakeisho thing, this is somewhat new for us.
It's the sort of the fall from grace, and towards your point, a lot of the Ozekis that we had seen, Tochinoshin, Takayasu, we didn't, with the exception of Tochinoshin, we saw the meteoric rise, but it was sort of we knew there was an expiration date. And so, this dwindling effect is a little disheartening. Especially
because these guys are younger, and they, it seemed like you were going to be in those spots for a while.
Felt like it.
Now.
Yeah. Well, Shodai, 8 wins are hang it up hang up the Ozeki. Don't hang it up.
Right, don't quit.
Stay in there. Stay in there, babe.
Which brings us to our other troubled Ozeki, Takakeisho, 1-3-11. He was injured yet again, a new injury. So it's not like he has a lingering injury. It's that he gets injured. Well, he does have a lingering neck injury, but he gets injured in a different spot all the time.
He's just so injury prone. It is. We had mentioned this on the wrap up in January. It's just this is just a curse at this point. You can't break this cycle. It's just the body can't handle it, and
I do think. And I want to knock on wood. I do think he's going to have a short career. I don't see him going like Tamawashi. I don't mean short career tomorrow, but I don't see him competing long into his 30s because he doesn't have the body. He has more skill than his body can handle.
That's a good way to put
it. Because if he wasn't so skilled, he wouldn't be where he is. But his body's got to pay the price for that.
Yeah, he'll hit up. I think he is sort of maneuvering that. He's got the Ozeki. He'll get that long enough to get the clout. He's got the family. He's got the connections, and then eventually he'll hit the point that he'll just pivot right over to being a coach.
Right.
It does feel that way, and then what will be weird is in I would say about 3 to 4 years after he retires, like a 300-pound Takakesho, a 200-pound Takakesho.
Right.
And then we'll be like, dang, you were short this whole time.
I know, you can't really see how short he is until he loses some of the weight. But, interesting thing, Takakesho also got COVID, which, you know, the interview said that he was in acceptable condition. I don't know if that's like a Japanese word, you know, like when you call something, if somebody called something acceptable to me, I would not take that as good.
I would take that as scraping average.
Right. So it's like, are they just being, you know, neutral on this when his coach says he's acceptable, or is that like, oh no? Because Takakesho already has issues with breathing as well. He's got these like 10-second matches and he's out of breath. So another guy who really could have benefited from not getting COVID.
Yeah.
But as an aside, I was getting all my recommendations as I do, and I got a recommendation for the channel Sumo Stew, and she did a really cool little piece on Takakesho and his history. And the particularly interesting thing is how different he used to be as a kid compared to now. Apparently, he was quite a celebrator. And no one would say that about Takakesho now.
He is stoic.
So, it's interesting how, I guess he is able to make those changes that he thinks are necessary.
The sumo system does grind you into shape, I feel.
Yeah.
That kind of thing just sort of get weaned out of you.
If they don't catch you early, then you become Abi, where you get such a severe punishment that they do get you eventually. So, good luck to Takakesho, but he is always a mystery.
Yeah, I think between Shodai and Takakesho, he has the best chance of clearing his Katoban.
He has precedent. He even did the Ozeki Wake and did the 10 wins like it was nothing.
So, I have reasonable hopes that Takakesho will get his 8 wins, and if he doesn't, I have reasonable hope that he'll get the 10 wins to come back. So I'm not... Takakesho's problem has always been physical. It's never been mental or spiritual, and that's just what it is. So if he gets 8 days out of his body, we're fine.
Right.
It'd be nice if he gets 12, 13, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right. We would all love for him to be back in the contention and having those final day playoffs, but don't want to get too optimistic right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll get optimistic about one thing that's coming up. Okay.
So next we have Mitakeumi, the brand new Ozeki, who also got COVID. This is the theme. 13-2. It was a surprise that he came out of nowhere and ends up winning the tournament.
I think it was September or November. We were joking about Mitakeumi gets Ozeki by default. By all the other Ozeki falling out, and then they just need 2 Ozeki, so he just gets an auto promotion, and then he turns around and just gets it himself.
Well, it was good timing because that prediction wasn't that far off. If those other 2 guys drop out,
it'll just be him.
It'll be just him. So he did it at the right time.
He did.
Whether you believe in his sumo or not doesn't matter because this is his time to prove what he's got.
I think we've made him a punching bag. We've praised him. We've been frustrated by him. Like the whole spectrum of emotions, just like take all that and throw it out the window because like from here on out, it is his time to prove what he's got
and show off and be the man.
Yeah, it's like this is his basho, which is weird to say because I would say this time 2 months ago we were like it's gonna be the Terunofuji show forever.
Right.
We never thought about
Mitakeumi even entering the conversation.
It was out. So now he's here, and so now it's his spotlight to lose, and it's a very, very interesting. So this is where the optimism is, not whether or not Mitakeumi is going to actually do well as Shinozeki. That has its own stipulations. That's always a weird thing. That I think in the past, you're the first Ozeki, you do okay, 8 to 10 wins.
Yeah.
But the injection of energy into the top division is what sort of excites me the most. It's like, somebody broke through the ceiling. Somebody's touched the second rank again, we're not just stuck in the doldrums. Like
right, he's hanging out at the top, and like nobody can get through now.
Yeah, we were afraid like it would just be this top cluster right here. I'm gesturing with my hand as if you can see it is going to change, and like okay, it's changed. There's officially a shakeup. Now we've got another shakeup coming, but we're not going to talk about that yet because again, Takeumi's earned it.
He has, and he has quite an interesting rivalry with Takakeisho as well. Yes. So if Takakeisho's in good enough shape, we could see a really good thing going there. The one thing that I would say about Mitakeumi is, no matter what, he has 3 championships.
He does. He has 3 Yushas. There's
he's doing better than everybody, whether he had that Ozeki rank or not. With the exception of Terunofuji, of course.
Yeah.
So, no matter what, I think he's done all he needs to do to just now be the Ozeki and do what you should have been doing a year ago.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to see where this goes. Like it's almost there's no bad answer because like if Mitakeumi sort of treads water, we're just like it's good that you're there. If he does really well, we're just like oh man, when's this train gonna stop? And if he does absolutely horrible, it'll still be fun. Right. If we get to see the complete collapse and destruction, it's just like, well, he was only Ozeki for a little bit. Like, we didn't get invested.
Right, exactly. Although, it's easier to kind of hang around in Ozeki because you get that 2 tournament.
You do get the Kataban.
Kataban safety. So, I do think he's good enough to stay Ozeki. The question is he good enough to go higher? I'm not there yet.
That's where he needs to... That's where he needs to start showing his stuff.
Yeah, let's see another side before I have that conversation. So next we have, my dark horse, the one I think is someday going to be somebody really special, is Wakatakakage. Up from Myogiryu 1 East to Sekiwake 1 East. 9-6. And we're in interesting territory because the last time he was this high up, actually, did he make it all the way to Sekiwake or just Komusubi?
Well, he was in Sanyaku, and then he got the target on his back.
Yeah, I think Sekiwake...
And he was,
Yeah, he only got up to Komusubi. So this is his highest rank.
Yep.
Last time things did not go so well. What do you think's going to happen this time?
Yeah. So... There is always, everybody touches Sanyaku and then they get immediately knocked down. Like, that seems to be, the rite of passage almost. So, this is sort of his chance to keep going. So, something that I'm going to point out is that the last 3 tournaments, these 5 final days, he's gotten wins in all of them. So, for me, this is not just Wakatakakage can fight up top. But he's got the mental fortitude.
At the very end.
Yeah, because he was 4-6 going into the final 5.
Yeah, I was really surprised with the turnaround.
So then he turns it around, and it is of no, if he were to just collapse, and then that turns into a 4-11, it's what happens. It's what happens. It's a tough place. So for me, that kind of a final leg of the journey grit is something that is going to be the building force for him. So even if he comes out of the gate and it's trash, he's down but not out. And my guess is that's going to be the factor. I don't see him starting an Ozeki bid yet.
Right.
I think for him staying in Sanyaku, even if it means a 7-8 and falling down to Komusubi, that for him is the goal. Just tread water, no double-digit losses, and if he can start knocking out some of these other people, then he builds the momentum to go forward. Then he keeps going upwards.
I agree with that. I don't think he's quite got the star power yet to, just go in and dominate and surprise all of us. I think he's more of a steady presence, but I do think that he's going to get better and better and better gradually. And eventually we are going to see him in the Ozeki spot, and I think he'll stay there.
Yeah.
It helps that his brother's in now, too, because you can sort of motivate each other.
Yes.
There's definitely that thing going in sumo. So, we're going to see. We're going to see what he's made out of.
Yeah. Of note is Kotokuzan, a newbie here, is also a stablemate. So he's got 2 buddies in the top division.
That helps.
It's that morale factor. So he's got his brother, and now he's got another stablemate. So there's 3 people from his stable.
It's almost like you get to... This is the team part of sumo.
Yes.
So while it is an individual sport, it's still very much a team sport as well. And so the more guys you get in the top, probably the better off you feel.
Better you feel, and then you can you trade notes with each other. And now he's probably a little bit too far off to really help with the day by day, but like that energy, that momentum, that's the positive factor going for Wakatakakage coming into March.
Hopefully it's all coming together, and we're going to see some pretty exciting sumo out of him. Next, we have Abi, whom I have to say, we deserve a lot of credit for right off the bat knowing that Abi was going to do what he did.
He's a sledgehammer.
He's a sledgehammer.
It's beautiful. It's what us and everyone else has been saying. Like, this is a different Abi. So, like, on paper, you're just like, oh, he's back to where he was. You know, he's back in the Sanyaku. This is. So it's like nothing happened, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because what happened is that Abi has evolved into a terrifying force of nature, and I see nothing stopping him from another double-digit wins.
Me either. I can't imagine, unless he gets some sort of injury, there's nothing in his sumo that's going to change.
No.
And, think about how harsh his punishment was. He just got married and had a kid, and he's not allowed to... He finally gets to move back in with them after a year.
Big positive factor.
This is the kind of stuff, like, this is life-altering stuff that we always talk about, where if it gets really bleak and you fight through it, you're just going to be stronger. And he's proven to be one of the guys who can do it.
He is living proof that if you've got the grit to get through the choppy waters, you're just gonna turn into somebody who may be next Ozeki.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him being Ozeki without a problem.
Yeah, it's like this version of Abi. He gets so now that he's in Sekiwaki, like the Ozeki resume starts now. Mm-hmm. Sort of bad news for that 12-3 that he got in January is that it doesn't count. Finger quotes. So of note is that the 12-3 pole vaulted him up here, so it's not like it was.
It's not wasted.
Not wasted. But you look at Abi right where he is, and it's like, can you get double-digit wins in March? Yes. Yeah. Yes. I see him making eyes at the cup, not just getting 10, 11, 12 wins.
Yeah, he's primed to be the next first-time winner. And, I love Abi, but here's sort of the downside for me is he's a tough opponent for Takekisho. Because they do the same kind of sumo, but Abi has the arms and the height that Takekisho doesn't have. It's very hard for Takekisho to get a win off of him. So if Abi starts being in the conversation, then it will affect Takekisho's ability to stay in these tournaments too. So... Unfortunate for Takekisho, he's still my favorite. Still rooting for him. But I think Abi is really going to mess with what's going on up there.
It's going to be part of that shuffle, that shake-up. A lot of people who are sort of coasting aren't gonna be finding it. Abi's not the only person here who's new and hungry, and that's
he's hungrier than anybody else, I feel like. Like, he's got the Terunofuji hunger when Terunofuji was trying to get back up.
There is that.
So, it's really hard to match Abi at this point. Now, hopefully he's not going to make a fool out of me in this tournament, but I have no reason to think that would happen.
It's just too strong. There's too much upward drive through this Banzuke for him.
So, we'll see if he's in the conversation for the whole thing, the whole shebang. I would expect... If not, he's at least 12-3 again, or 11-4.
Double-digit wins is my baseline. 10-5 at the worst.
10-5 would be like, oh, what happened this turn?
Yeah, 10-5 is he fell off the step a little bit. Maybe the pressure got to him, and then like 12-3, 13-2, and you're just like, yup.
I don't even see pressure getting to him. That's the thing. Like, he's got the mental stability. Like, to just come back the way he did shows you that he has it.
He's like, I'm doing this. I'm doing it right. And woe to anyone in my way.
And apparently they hold on to the retirement papers, which is kind of...
Yeah,
I think that's probably just...
when he gets to Ozeki, I have a feeling those are going to get lost.
Yeah. We'll just forget that ever happened.
Just forget that ever happened. It'll be in the shredder.
So, congratulations to Abi just to get this far so quickly. And we're looking forward to some awesome sumo from you. Next we have Takanosho. He stayed in Sanyaku. He lost his Sekiwaki space, but he is still Komusubi. He's holding on for dear life. There is always the question of how is his sumo affected by his Takakeisho state, since they are training partners. They are the exclusive training partners, pretty much.
I do feel that these two people are inextricably linked, and in a way, Takanosho's fate is not completely in his hands. He's done okay, well, better, worse. But the last times that Takakeisho had a bad tournament, Takanosho also had a bad tournament. And Takakeisho was doing well. That's when the 10 and 5s come back for Takanosho, which, not a problem. When you have an Ozeki as your training partner, maybe you will rely upon Ozeki level training and...
Right, and when you don't have that, maybe it's harder to pull stuff out of yourself if you're not being pushed to your limit.
Yeah, so maybe that's sort of the factor for Takanosho is that he needs those training sessions. He needs to hit maximum output, or he's just not going to get the progress.
Now things might change when they start doing interstable trainings again, like they used to. That's a big factor that's so different in the last 2 years than prior when we first started watching. Everybody was getting a shot at fighting an Ozeki or fighting a strong opponent. Hakuho was just showing up at people's stables and saying, I want to train with you. So this really is unique to the COVID situation that Takanosho has very little to train with. So my other thing about him is, and it might just be his aura or something, he just doesn't seem to be aggressive enough for a pusher thruster. It's almost like, I don't know, I want to see a little bit of mean-spiritedness. Yeah. I don't mean hurt somebody, but just go through somebody.
Yeah, maybe a little push.
A little extra push.
A little extra push that because Takakeisho has that.
He does.
He does. Yeah.
Okay, I'm winning this no matter what.
Yeah, there was that one, I forget who was that, it might have been Takayasu. He pushes him out and he gives him a mean mug. I'm like, what is that? It's just you sense the fighting spirit was there, but that, it's, when you see that little hint of anger, you're just like, oh, we got a little Saiyan blood in here. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which actually, the Sumo Stew thing that I was talking about shows that. It's he's actually got a little bit of a hothead in him. I can't picture Takanosho doing that.
No.
I can picture him never being mad about anything. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but that's how he presents in the ring.
It's the impression he gives, whether or not it's true.
Right, so maybe if he had a little bit more or something.
Hang out with Angry Shodai, but yeah.
Well, yeah, we need Angry Shodai to come back.
Well, we need Angry Shodai to come back. Maybe start throwing some banana peels at Shodai.
Maybe Takanosho can just show up at his table or something.
Yeah, just show what you got.
So next we have a guy that I'm really glad is so high up for us to talk about, and that's Hoshoryu. He jumps up from Myogiryu 6 East to Komusubi 1 West. This is the first time for him. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. He had 11 and 4. He's finally starting to show what we knew he was capable of.
Yeah, he's gotten to Myogiryu 1.
Okay, so
but they didn't give him the Sanyaku nod until now.
It's probably because it was in there, but he was still... Something was...
unproven.
Yeah, almost. Unproven is the right way to put it. So, it's finally time for him to show what he can do. This is exciting. This is great when a young up-and-comer is finally in Sanyaku. Want him to beat the curse and just... come out with some double digits, and I want to see him fight Abi, and let's really mix it up, and show us what the new sumo blood looks like. And he's the youngest.
He's young. He's super young. I think Kotonowaka is super young too. Look at his age. He's
99. Wow.
23.
Okay, so he's coming up a little bit in age. Like it's taken him a little bit more time than it took some of these like Hakuhos and Takekeshos. But 23 is still in that range where you do a good showing now, you become the elite very quickly.
Become the elite, and then you stay there.
And you stay there, and you get all your experience. It's hard to knock you down.
Yeah. The Curse of Sanyaku, I don't know if he can shake it, but I feel like if anyone could, he'd be on that list. I think win, lose, or draw, like whenever Hoshoryu gets a taste of something higher, in the back of my mind, I'm like, he wants to keep that.
And he's got the fire we were talking about.
Yes.
I mean, he's one of the most fiery guys in the division.
Yeah, he does. He is prone to pressure, but again, like the more he experiences, the less it affects him. So I see him maybe a little shaky on the legs in Kamosubi, but just this time. So maybe he'll scrape in 8 and 7. Maybe he'll do double-digit wins and just blow everyone out of the water. It's all possible. But no matter what happens to him now, when he's any tournament after this, he just absorbs the energy and keeps going.
Right. Anything he gets from this is going to be a benefit, unless it's like a 2-11 or something.
Well, in a way, like even a 2-13 for him, he's just like, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to go back there. I'm going to do it right this time.
Right. Maybe he'll remember, like, okay, these guys were so much tougher than I expected. Yeah. Because he's on the smaller side.
Smaller sumo.
Yeah, so he's going to have to work his butt off in that space. Like, he's going to have really powerful men pushing him. And I think he can handle it, but the wear and tear of 15 days is one of the reasons why it's hard for the smaller guys. But on a funny note, so the last Kurasumo video had that Hoshoryu was blocking his uncle's calls because he's too scary. I find that to be extremely amusing.
It is. It's a fun story that Hoshoryu calls him up so much. He's just like, I gotta get training done. He blocks him.
Right, and then it's like the last time he saw him, he like lectured him for 4 hours. It's like, yeah, I probably would block him too. We only thought he had to worry about Twitter. I guess not.
Well, makes sense. What are you gonna do? Not give Hoshoryu your phone number?
Right, right, exactly.
He's gonna drive down from Mongolia and knock on your door. What's your phone number?
I know.
There's no hiding.
There's no hiding from him. He knows all the places that you can hide. So I'm glad that hasn't impacted him too much. That he's not stuck in the bottom because he has like such a shadow over his shoulder. But good luck to Hoshoryu. I expect good things. I'm gonna come in thinking very positively for him.
He's also gonna sort of point at everybody around him and say, "You're in my way.
I want your spot.
I want your spot." So this is sort of where if Wakatakakage can't cut it, he's fallen. If Takanosho just missing that little extra edge, Shodai's in a gloomy state. Like you just keep counting up the wins. It's
true. I mean, there's enough uncertainty that Hoshoryu could make a real big splash. He could. He's not beating Terunofuji though. He's not ready for that.
Not ready yet.
He's got to bulk up quite a bit before he can handle that man. But still in a good position to do something great. So next, yeah, exactly. So next we have Daieisho. He drops down to Myogiryu 1E, 7 and 8. You know, Daieisho is Daieisho. We're not talking about the same thing as Hoshoryu. We're talking about a guy who has a very stable way of sumo, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And, you know, I have no expectations of him going too high, but I don't have any expectations of him dropping too low.
Yeah, when he posted the 7 and 8, I was just like, wow, that's not bad. Mm-hmm. I would say this time, maybe a year, particularly last January when he won the Yusho, I'm just like, yeah!
He's going to turn it into something.
He's turning it. It's the corner. It was that moment I was hoping for. Like, I see the 7-8, I'm just like, it's not bad. Well done. I feel like that's the ceiling now. Yeah. And, I mean, what a difference a year makes. Which is just not And then, again, a 7 and 8 at Kamosubi is absolutely, like, a mind-boggling feat for a lot of people. Like, the mental pressure, the physical pressure, what state is his hands in, you know? So, I'm starting to feel like there's, like, a shift in the focus in Daieisho. And what's good for Daieisho, and this is, like, what you're saying, Daieisho is Daieisho. He's going to go out there and he's going to crack whoever's in front of him. And I still think he's got a Kimboshi waiting for him in the future, a second one, and like he keeps getting that close to Terunofuji, that close, and so that the fact that he's pushing that guy to his limits means that, you know, like, that fire's still there.
Right, the fire's there and the skill is there, but it's just a tough grind. If conditions were all made perfect, he's still the kind of guy who could win again.
He could. Conditions are perfect. I think also that Daieisho, like, 100% output, if not physical, mental, emotional, he's in there every time, every day.
Right.
You know, maybe he slips one day, maybe the lapse, but it's like the mental strength is there. And where this becomes interesting is mental strength is not a constant at this top section. Right. And so we'll go to Hoshoryu. Maybe he's weakened, maybe he's buckling under the pressure. Daieisho's going to clean him up. Yeah. What if Mitakeumi starts going into a slump? Daieisho's not going to stop pushing. So even if Daieisho himself doesn't start the climb, doesn't get Nozeki bid going, he's going to make sure that no one else does if they're not going to play nice.
Yeah, I mean, Daieisho doesn't stop for anyone.
No one.
And a lot of his losses are on the edge, or there's a slip, or
the little thing.
He doesn't get blown away. So yeah, he's always somebody you got to be watching your back on. Like, I imagine you're going into a bout that day, and you're like, ugh, I got Daieisho today. This is gonna be a tough one.
Where's your gut?
I'm at least gonna get beat up, even if I win. Let's hope I don't get injured. So, I don't have any particular goals in mind for Daieisho. It's just sort of like, come and do your thing.
Yeah, well, that's all I hope from him. Come do your thing, slap some people around, play foil.
Yeah, definitely play foil.
Because he's already done that. He's put a couple of losses on people. He's sort of altered the Yusho race.
Keep it interesting.
Keep it interesting. He's there. He's just there to keep everyone honest.
Exactly.
Think you could take a day off? Not today.
No. So next we have Ura, Maegashira 1 West, up from Maegashira 2 East. Every tournament, it's like a new high. 8 and 7. The guy is the most exciting wrestler to come up since Enho. Because, it's funny. They say he's a small sumo, but he doesn't look small to me.
He's not small anymore.
Yeah. But he does still have that small man sumo mentality. And I don't understand the physics of his sumo because it doesn't make any sense.
He's so dense.
He is. And he gets thrown around like Gumby. And you think, okay, he's definitely snapped something. He's like, no, I'm good.
He's fine. He gets a concussion against Shodai.
Yeah, he's stumbling around, comes back the next day.
He's fine.
You worry about him getting injured, but then you say, he doesn't get injured.
He doesn't, the knees were a fluke. It feels like it's just kind of the one time it snapped. What's interesting about Ura for me is sort of the Sanyaku was more or less in stone. Wakatakakage, Sekiwaki East, Abi Sekiwaki West, both of them had earned those positions. Takanosho with the 7 and 8, they're not kicking him out of Sanyaku. So then, who's the fourth spot? And it was either going to be Ura or Hoshoryu. And they thought that Hoshoryu's double-digit wins from lower down was better than the 8 and 7 from right next door. So this is sort of it's the double test. Because for Hoshoryu, they're saying, we're giving it to you, now you got to prove it.
Right, because we gave it to you over this other guy.
Okay, over this other guy. Now they're going to Ura, and we're saying, you just didn't get enough wins. You just need to do a little bit better, and you're in.
Right.
And so that dynamic I find fascinating, because you can, like, if Hoshoryu gets a 7 and 8, and Ura gets an 8 and 7, those two are swapping.
Exactly.
And then if Takanosho does bad, good, Ura is right on that edge. That Megashira 1, it's the best place to be and the worst place to be.
Yes, because you are going to go through the grinder of the, all the top guys, but at the same time, you don't have the Sanyaku pressure.
Don't have it.
But I am looking forward to watching him fight Terunofuji again.
Again.
Those are classic matches.
Every time it's something fascinating.
Like the very first one where he's like not down yet and he's sort of like
his hands like stuck in the belt and Terunofuji looks down and is like, what are you doing?
He just swats him
down. So that is an epic saga to unfold before us. And okay, like every match Ura is in, I'm like, ooh, Ura's on.
Right.
Yeah, but there's a couple now you're looking at, you're just like, okay, he's gonna fight everyone.
Like all the top guys.
He's fighting all of them.
So every day is gonna be like, yeah, let's see it.
Let's see it. It's not just fun that's Ura, it's fun that's Ura, and also
it's like the test of
test. How's Takanosho feeling today? We're gonna find out.
Right, Ura's like Daieisho in the sense that he's also the test.
It is, and what's sort of the worst nightmare is that Daieisho is slap you, drive forward 100%, foot on the floor, and then Ura is trickster.
And he might embarrass you.
So you need a completely different game plan on 2 different days. Like, what if you get Daieisho and you get Ura the next day?
Right, which some people, that's probably going to happen.
It's going to happen. So, like, one day you're going to get the tar kicked out of you, win or lose, and then the other day you may get a leg picked and embarrassed.
Yeah. There's nothing more embarrassing than, besides maybe Tochinoshin picking you up like a baby.
That has to hit you in the soul pretty special. So, yes, Ura, way fun, and still no Makakoshi.
Yeah, I mean...
Actually, has he Makakoshi since he's gotten up here?
I think he might have Makakoshi once.
Maybe. Once when he hit Megashira 6, but this was a huge jump. He went from 13 to 6.
Right. So it was like, was he quite ready for the jump in competition?
Yeah. He was fresh out of Juryo, coming back up. He gets a 10 and 5, and then they throw him through the wolves a little bit. But he gets a 7 and 8 while being thrown to the wolves.
Right, exactly. It was almost. This is like some Tomokaze stuff.
Almost turned around. Tomokaze is near Juryo, by the way.
I know.
Getting there.
Can't wait. Hope his knee's okay.
Grand return. He'll be fine. He'll be like Terunofuji. Just duct tape him.
Exactly. Just duct tape myself together until the end of my career. So next we have Ichinojo. He is up from Megashira 2 West to Megashira 2 East, 8 and 7. He survived, but it's like we're losing the angry Hariyama Ichinojo, and we're getting Snorlax back.
It is the struggle. Like, survived it feels like the word for what Ichinojo did. Because he had highs, he had lows, good matches, bad matches.
Weird matches.
Had a lot of heart. Had no heart. It was the whole gamut for him.
Every version of Ichinojo.
Every version of Ichinojo came out in January. It was the whole deck. So coming into this, you're like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. No, he did again. At the end of the day, it's still an 8 and 7. If you're writing numbers on paper, that's a winning score.
Right. If you're only looking at the stats for somebody, you don't know what the story
You don't know what the story is. So, the half step up, sure. But the half step up also means that not a lot of other people were convinced.
Yeah.
Because that the... or I had a half step too, I guess. Well, anyway. For Ichinojo, it really is the momentum slowing? Is that hunger dying down a little bit? Is he... Or is it just simply he's just hitting the ceiling?
Right.
So he's touched Sanyaku before, but he didn't really stay there. But again, this was the Snorlax, so there's a lot of pulling, there's a lot of leaning.
I think there's things we don't necessarily know about him in terms of his physical condition.
Yeah.
I know that there's a back issue. I don't know if there's a fatigue issue. There's just things that we're not going to know about him that might affect his performance from tournament to tournament. Like, some of these guys, it's like, oh, we know this injury happened, so we know he's going to be off a step. You never find out if something was wrong with Ichinojo. It's always radio silence.
Also, not a lot of bandages on him.
Right, so you can't see, oh, the ankle was a problem.
Yeah, there's no taped foot. Like, Ura and Terunofuji, they walk in and they've got, the hydraulics.
I know, right?
Those bandages are so huge. So,
bionic knee.
You know what's going on with them, but for Ichinojo...
Right, it's so it is a question of, is it more physical or more mental? And we'll never know. He is the great enigma of sumo. Because even the commentators, they don't know. They'll say, oh, what Ichinojo are we going to get today? So, oh, maybe only his coach knows what's going on with that.
Oh, God only knows.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. I think every tournament we're going to see his name and just be like, oh.
We'll see. Hopefully he wins.
Right. He always makes it interesting, at least.
It does.
So next we have Tamawashi, up from Myogiryu 3 East to Myogiryu 2 West. Very interesting that the oldest man in the top division just is now starting to climb up. Just slowly and steady, climbing back up to, like, former position.
Yeah, it feels to me like this is almost indicative of the top division more than it is Tamawashi. Tamawashi is a constant. So the only concern I have for Tamawashi is that he was like 8-2, 8-3.
And then lost all
and then lost out the whole last. Now, I know for the veterans, they do take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit once they hit 8 wins. And I'm hoping that's what this is.
Yeah, because you don't want to incur an injury when you're just trying to hang on and do sumo as long as you can.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that the 4 to 5 loss slump was just him saying, I got it, we're good, I'm not going to get the Yusho this time. He's already got the Yusho also, so he doesn't have that.
Right.
He's already got that in the pocket, so this is all glory for him.
Right, it's very different if you're in the race. You might say, okay, I'm going to push it.
Yeah, so like maybe if he was like 9-1, 10-0, like I can see him maybe just pushing it in. But he was like, I think he knew. He was just like, I got my Kachikoshi, I'm just going to go out there and fight and
do my best.
Do my best. Keep my body good.
It's amazing. It really is like he's drank from the fountain of youth.
He has.
He's out-aged Hakuho at this point. I think they came in at the same time, so...
Yeah, there was something about that.
So, next we have Onosho, Myogiryu 3 East, up from Myogiryu 5 West, 10-5. Onosho, there's something special in there, but it doesn't always come out.
It did feel a little different. His 10-5 this time. Double-digit wins in the upper Megashira is showing that something is coming. So what's weird about Onosho this time is that no one's looking at him.
Right, they've sort of written him off.
We've been like, Onosho, you got to get your stuff together. You're just spinning your wheels in the top 10, and he's not going anywhere. But like all the attention is on this top. Like, look at this. So like everybody's thinking about Mitakeumi, about Abi, about Hoshoryu. Like this whole right side.
Yep.
Right here. Everybody's talking about them. And no one's talking about Onosho. So if he needs to like harness that dark horse energy, this is his time.
Right.
You blink and all of a sudden he's in the Yusho race and Hoshoryu's eating 5 and 10. Or Onosho starts spinning his wheels again and
has another
Onosho. We don't know. But it's fascinating because he's put himself in this position again to pole vault. And we don't know if he's going to go up or down.
Well, I mean, in some ways, how is that any... Okay, it is different, but in some ways, it's very reminiscent of Mitakeumi. Mitakeumi had this ability to be Ozeki, like, I don't know, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then things would just keep going wrong. So, I don't know that Onosho is that talented, but there's enough in him that he should have risen higher by now.
Maybe. He did... He seemed to have been hampered a little bit by some footwork, some technique. If that stuff is starting to get cleaned up, then maybe there's nothing in his way anymore. He also does have the mental issue. If he comes out of the gate with a bad score, he never does seem to recover. And so, like, if he's got better footwork and he's like 4-1, 3-2, well, maybe he can take advantage of a lot of people not looking at him and a lot of chaos in the top.
Maybe he just needs to train with weights on his feet or something. I don't know. That might actually make him fly more when he takes them off. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess we'll see if he can put together two really good tournaments in a row.
Keep an eye on Onosho this time. Something's going to happen.
Ah.
I've got a feeling. I got the hunch. Because no one's looking that way. You know what I mean?
That's when it happens.
You take your eyes off it. Like, that's how Endo got his double-digit wins. Everybody's like, whatever.
Forget Endo.
We're done with Endo. Write him off.
And then he makes this like tremendous comeback and makes everything interesting. And
we'll see.
Well, we gotta get to him.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, so now we have Meisei, Myogiryu 3 West, down from Komusubi 1 East, 5 and 10. So he's having a rough time of it.
Mm-hmm.
Some commentators don't believe he even belonged in that Sanyaku area. I don't know if I agree with that or not, but definitely he's inconsistent.
He needs to shore up some things. I would say down but not out. So Onosho, we have the pairing right here.
It's a good pairing.
It's a good pairing. Like Onosho's on the way up, and you feel like, are you going to go back up? And so like the question is for Onosho, like how far is your momentum going to go? You go over to Meisei, he's falling, and the question is the same. Where's your momentum going to go?
Right.
And so my bet for Meisei is that he's going to sort of plant feet and rebuild. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a 7 and 8, an 8 and 7, maybe back to double digits, but Meisei is just too good to drop down. To drop down. You can't keep a good boy down. Right. And Meisei is a good boy.
And if he does an 8 and 7 and Tamawashi or Ichinojo fall out, which is very possible, then he makes the slow climb back up.
Snow climb.
And just try to do his thing.
Yeah. So I see a rebuilding for Meisei this tournament. I see if he gets that winning score, then blink again, he'll be in Sanyaku.
Right.
He'll be cracking heads.
He wants to show yeah, I do belong there.
He does belong there.
If I keep going up there, I belong there.
Yeah. That's the thing. You sit on it long enough, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, it's really the endurance that gets you the spot. Because once some guys, lose their momentum, if you are steady, you will eventually take their spot. So, good luck. We'll see how this one turns out. Next we have Kiribayama, which I almost would say could be a good pairing with Meisei as well.
Yes.
Myogiryu 4 East, down from Myogiryu 1 West, 6 and 9. He's a talented guy, but he's just, I don't know, maybe he's not bulky enough, maybe he's not hungry enough. He's just not ready.
I keep coming back to something you said before, is just like he needs a gym.
Yeah.
I feel like his talent's there, his mind's there, the moves are there. A lot of the problems he's having is that he can't do stuff the way he wants to. Because
it's not strong enough.
It's strong. Like the way he does sumo, he needs to just physically impose himself. And if he can't do that against some people, then he's just going to lose these like little knife's edge balance kind of things. You're just like, oh, he was so close.
Well, if you look at Kakuryu, he wasn't the biggest guy. And he was a Yokozuna that could overpower you, but he was more likely to do tricky things. Kiribayama needs to bulk up a little bit if he wants to have a Kakuryu style, which I do see a lot of Kakuryu in him.
It's forming. It's getting there.
Yeah.
And you give Kiribayama another 10 pounds of muscle, and maybe that's all it needs.
Right.
And so really, it's just it's the fine tuning for him. It feels like, but like everyone else, if you spend too long fine tuning,
then you're out.
Then you're just gonna fine tune your way to journeyman. Exactly,
and so he's sort of in a lost place right now where who knows?
Yeah, he's high enough up that he can start messing with people like Kiribayama and Hoshoryu. That'll be a good fight.
Yeah,
there'll be some good stuff in there. He gets to maybe get embarrassed by Ura again. But so still in a place to make waves, still in a place to be tested.
Right, he's not quite on the...
he's not in the safety zone.
Yeah, he's a wild card. But not a wild card where you're going to mess with the tournament race. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, maybe he'll get a...
Maybe he'll catch someone on a bad day.
Right, exactly. You kind of... But I wanna think positively, so hopefully this March isn't March the Stormy Basho. So,
we're back in Osaka, right?
Yes, for the first time in 2 years. So, hey, maybe that changes the dynamic for some people.
Oh, breath of that Osaka air.
Exactly. Maybe it's all the medicine he needs. Speaking of someone who needs medicine, Endo, Myogiryu 4 West, down from Myogiryu 3 West, 7 and 8. The Endo that we had for those 2 glorious tournaments seems to be fading away.
It's that spark. Aoiyama had this too. That he had that run of it, and I got so excited. I'm like, oh, look at it! It's the second wind. It's the second coming, and then it just slowly trickled away. And I feel like with Endo, like it's still there's a piece of it still there. There's some. Like, the old Endo was just like a sort of an easy come, easy go almost.
Yeah.
It was sort of he just shows up and wrestles. And so, like, I feel like there's some part of him that's still trying to get there. But
something's holding him back.
We're losing spin on the dreidel, and it's wobbling.
Yeah.
And well, that being said, with Endo, like, it's like Ichinojo, sort of. It's just like, you're not going to know what he's going to do.
Until the tournament. I think that might have been true for him. I mean, I think when he loses on the first day, it's like, well, I lost on the first day, I'm going to throw this one, not like really throw it, but just, well, that stinks. But if he wins on the first couple days, then you see that hungry side of him. So I almost wonder if he shows up and not really sure how he's going to be.
Yeah, well, maybe some people do just sort of take it as it goes.
If he didn't get COVID, I mean, maybe he has a huge advantage.
X Factor.
X Factor. All these guys got COVID. If he walks in, yeah, I'm good.
he just walks over to somebody and takes deep breaths.
I know, and they're so jealous.
Yeah, he's just like, I got great lungs. How about you?
Just poke them and they fall down. This really could be. We're kind of joking about it, but there is a possibility that it really is a factor.
It is a battle of inches. Now, I mean, these people are in absurdly great shape despite appearances.
Right, and for them, maybe, like, the decrease in their lung capacity and things like that won't impact them the way it would just an average person.
I mean, that being said, if that match goes an extra 3 seconds, and that's the 3 seconds that COVID took from you,
right,
all
and
of a sudden...
Endo's an Iron Man guy.
Yeah, he is.
So, we'll see. I mean, we might get completely shocked in this tournament.
Yeah, there is the potential for just a complete upheaval.
Yes.
That the cat runs over and knocks the Jenga over, and then all the pieces are scattered. Like that, we could be in like 2 weeks. We're going to each other like, what just happened?
Right, like who are these 3 guys that are going out for the tournament? Yeah, I mean, once again, knock on wood, we could have a whole bunch of withdrawals in the first couple of days.
That's a good point.
I don't ever like to say that because I don't want that to happen, but it's possible that if a lot of these guys come in and they don't feel up to it, that they all withdraw.
That would suck.
It would suck. But then if that happens, someone like Endo might be the guy who starts showing off his skills.
Who sticks with it.
Yeah. So next we have your favorite. Or no, my favorite. Takarafuji, Myogiryu 5 East, up from Myogiryu 7 West, 9 and 6. Had a couple of bumps in the road. Where we thought, is this retirement Takarafuji?
Yeah, we were concerned.
And then he's bounced back and he's being the stable guy that he always is.
Yeah, he was the 7 and 8.
I was thinking of Hokutofuji when
Yep. This 5 and 10 here, we were like, ooh.
Did we put him on the danger list?
Well, the thing about this 5 and 10, like, it was a bad 5 and 10. It was a one-sided 5 and 10.
Like he didn't even show up to fight.
We didn't show up, and then we see this, and we're like, okay, we're fine. It's good. He just had a bad time of it. Maybe a little too high. I don't expect him. I think like he like where Okinoumi and Takayasu is. Like I feel like this Myogiryu 7. This is the veteran sweet spot.
Yeah.
You get a little bit higher, you get knocked down. You get a little bit lower, you start working your way back up.
Right. So he might have reached the point now where he's going to get knocked down again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. He's just he's hanging around sumo for a reason, is the way I look at it. And I'm not saying that, because obviously it seems like he's an Iron Man. He could go for a long time. But it seems like he is taking his time, maybe hanging out with Terunofuji to see that whole thing through, maybe waiting for his elder stock. It just seems like he shows up, he does what he's got to do, and then he goes home, and It's a good day all around because all these guys are getting a lot of good experience when they have to fight him.
Yeah. I mean, he could just be the businessman sumo.
Right, I just pictured him in the suit and tie.
Oh, easily. I don't know how you can find his neck with the tie, but...
Well, that's true. But definitely, like, I see tracksuit Takarafuji. Like, I can picture that. Just as easily as him coming in the ring. So, it'll be interesting to see how many years we actually have with him. But either way, 9-6. Great record. Let's see if we're on the way down or on the way back up.
There could be a surprise in there.
It'd be cool, like, one of those, Terutsuyoshi, Terunofuji things where, like, they work together and all that. Like, that's always fun. So next we have probably the biggest surprise in January.
Never would have pegged this.
No, and I really like Ishiura, but it's been years since he put on a performance like this. And I'm pretty sure this is his highest rank. Ishiura jumps all the way up from Myogiryu 12 East to Myogiryu 5 West.
Well, they say high... somewhere they have the highest rank. Maybe, right? They have it somewhere in here.
I thought they did.
No. Probably right here. I just can't see it. Yeah, highest rank. Myogiryu 5.
Yeah.
So this is as best as he's ever been.
So this shows you something, right? Ishiura's always hung around down at the bottom of the Banzuke, and then would get knocked back down to Juryo. Very shocking that they... Not shocking, like he earned it, but it's shocking that he went from 12 East to 5 West.
There was a lot of people going down.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a... There's a bit of a shake-up from that respect, but this also may be a... We think you've got it. Let's see.
We're going to give you a shot.
We're going to give you a shot. I feel like this is them going to Ishiura and, like, on one hand saying, here's your shot, and on the other hand we're saying, we're going to throw you in the deep end and see if you can swim.
They really are throwing him in the deep end. But, you know, he is... I mean, he's not quite a veteran, but he's almost at veteran status in terms of he's been around a long time. But he's never fought this level of fighter before.
It's very exciting. New ground for him, new ground for us.
It's like new ground for an older guy, you know?
Old dog, new tricks.
And you know Hakuho will be hanging out in the hallways. I love those little moments when, like, Hakuho is, like, nodding to him or, like, they get to walk by each other.
Him.
I think there's a little bit of extra motivation there knowing that Hakuho is actually watching his match. Because when they both fought, Hakuho would always be in the back.
He'd be in the back, so he gets to be front row center.
And he'd be worried about his matches. Now, he's just hanging around, and he's paying extra attention. And I think that probably did give Ishiura some extra, like, excitement and wanting to try just a little bit harder. So, I don't know, maybe this is the start of a new Ishiura.
That's the hope. That's what I'm hoping. This is just a transformation. We blinked and we missed it.
Because here's the thing about him. He is a small man. But he's strong. He's stronger than he looks. Like, Kotoeko looks strong and he's not. Not strong like Ishiura. Ishiura went through probably the worst training that anybody goes through because Hakuho is a brutal taskmaster. And if you see that training session with Ishiura and Enho online, you feel like you're going to die watching it.
You get exhausted watching it.
So Ishiura has been through the trenches. So he is way stronger than he looks. I want to think so positively, like he's going to make a splash, but there's no precedent, so I don't know.
It's we don't know how this is going to pan. You look at him and you're like, he'll get slapped back down, and you're just like, yeah.
You never know. I mean, Hakuho might be watching, and he might say, let's try that trick, you know?
Maybe he figured something out. I mean, it's always, like, whenever you have the strugglers, the wheel grinders, like, in the back of your mind, like, I'm looking at Onosho while I'm saying this, it's just like, you figured out one thing out, and then it's just like, it's like those wind-up race cars, like, you pull them back, and you just let them go, and they go whoosh.
Exactly.
So, like, part of it is just like, has Ishiura hit that?
It'd be one of the more exciting storylines that we never saw coming.
Because
we knew Abi was likely to do what he's doing. Everybody knew after Terunofuji's first tournament back in the top division, well, we know where this is going.
Destiny.
Nobody knows if Ishiura can do something more. So I like it. I like this mystery and this tension. And I hope that he does some really cool stuff. Because when he's really on, he can do as many moves as Ura or anybody else.
Yeah, those 11 wins weren't just like boring push-outs.
He did everything.
He did tricks. He was moving. He fought different ways. So
he outpowered some guys.
That was an untapped mind.
Oh, God, I get too excited.
Okay.
I don't want to get disappointed. Please don't disappoint me. We need some, excitement with all the
weirdness.
The weirdness, exactly. So now we're finally at your guy. The Fujis, they threw me off.
There's a lot of mountains around here.
Hokutofuji, Megashore 6 East, down from Megashore 4 West, 6 and 9. Things are going a little awry.
So we're talking about please don't disappoint me like Hokutofuji. So so all of my writing here is just like seeing the way this normally goes. A guy so he was injured, goes down lower, gets the double-digit wins. You're like, okay, everything's all right. Goes back to where he was and does worse than he normally does. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, uh-oh. Have you peaked?
I know.
Are you gonna just grind your wheels to monotony until I die crying? I don't want this. Now, Megashira 6 is still sort of, not in his weight class. So the hope is that he does what he did before, get some good wins, maybe a special prize, get the momentum back. I'm not sure. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, because this is so unlike him.
Not like him. Like, getting injured wasn't like him to begin with. Maybe it's still lingering. Do you know if he got COVID?
Don't know.
Don't know. Mystery. Maybe he could. So he's a gas tank guy too, though. So
yeah,
maybe that helps him. Maybe it's a problem that COVID gets in there.
Yeah, I mean, COVID has the potential to really mess with a lot of different people because this is such high energy work. Energy work. You can't afford to be having, not being able to breathe or not being able to put out your maximum, output. So, yeah, there's some guys in here that I'm not sure of whether they got it or not. And Hokutofuji would be the type that I'd be worried about.
I'm a little worried. I'm just like yellow light.
Yellow light. Yeah, I wish I could be really optimistic, but he's out of character right now.
It's not what it's supposed to be. But let's let March happen.
Right, March and then make a
we're not no diagnosis yet. Mm-hmm. We're still running the X-rays.
Exactly.
We've got the CAT scan data. It's compiling. We gotta wait for March to be done before we can read it.
Yeah, the recap episode will have a lot more to say.
A lot more. We'll get the pulse on it.
So speaking of which, Kotonowaka, up from Megashore 14 East up to Megashore 6 West, 11 and 4. Here's a guy who was primed to be like a top guy, and then everything went wrong.
Bad luck, injury.
Then just
pressure,
right?
Fall apart,
the mental part of it. So he was a surprise in the sense that we weren't sure if he was ready to come back to what his potential was, and then out of the blue, he just seemed to be ready.
So again, like beforehand, it was like it's like he broke a mirror while walking under a ladder, and he saw a black cat. So it just all fell on him. So like this time, it's like if the curse is gone, if he brings his lucky rabbit's foot with him, like maybe this is it. So like both Kotonowaka and Ishiura have a sort of a similar we're watching, we're like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it?
Right, exactly, and we have no idea.
We're not sure because Kotonowaka was here, like maybe at this exact rank of 6'5", 6". He was there, and then like the injuries and things fell apart and just. Ugh.
Injuries are always interesting because sometimes they're just bad luck. Sometimes they're the result of like either poor training or in Takakeisho's case, a body that's not meant for the type of sumo he's doing. I'm not sure with Kotonowaka if it was just a fluke thing. If it was a fluke thing and it's all healed, we move on. If he's an injury-prone person, then we're going to start to see some stuff that we're not so big fans of.
I don't want to put the pressure on Kotonowaka. I feel like he's going to go at his own pace. But if there's nothing stopping him this time, I see him keeping it going.
Well, I mean, he could throw everything out of whack too if he decides like this is his tournament.
Yeah, he can run away with it.
There's a lot of different guys that if things go just right, you have some weird result at the end.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of people like sitting on a pile of rocket fuel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some of them will get launched. Some of them will just blow up.
Yeah. So once again, like hard to say what's going to happen with him because he's an unknown at this point. So next we have Takayasu, the unfortunate Takayasu, but maybe fortunate in some ways.
The timing on this may work out to his favor.
Yes, because he had to rest because somebody in his stable had COVID, not him. And then he missed a bunch of stuff, so I think he missed the COVID wave altogether. So he might be coming in rested, COVID-free, and just ready to pick up where he left off, which would be really, really nice. But once again, another guy where it's like, what are we going to see?
I see him causing mayhem for everybody around him. I don't know if he's going to make a run at it.
I would expect that too. I would expect him to be actually in pretty good shape.
He's in a good position to just just look who's on the screen and try to find one person there who's going to kick a win off him.
Right. He is capable of beating all of them.
Like maybe, all of them.
He could be Terunofuji if he had to fight him.
So that's 11 wins right there, just on the screen. For Takayasu. So that's his potential right now. If he is rested up, no back problems, had a nice relaxing 2 months, and now is coming back crisp, powerful, Ozeki swagger.
Exactly. When you're talking about a former Ozeki who has faced all of these guys multiple times, beaten them multiple times, he's always going to be the wild card. Because if he ever does his Ozeki level sumo, then he's right up at the top again.
Yep, he's knocking on the door of Sanyaku.
So, we got some more middle-of-the-line surprises, potentially. Next, we have Okinoumi, Maegashira 7 West, down from Maegashira 4 East, 4-11. So now, is he on the watch list yet?
Not yet. The 4-11, I'm betting on it being the leg. Just an injury.
Right.
Fighting crippled. We knew
how injured he was.
Already at Megashira 4 East, which again, if 6-7 is the over-under for the veteran comfort zone, he was already at risk to get swatted down.
Yeah.
Then you give him the injury, and now he's a half step behind in a place that he couldn't afford to be a half step behind.
True.
So then he gets knocked back down. It's like, okay, he's fine. He gets the pass. He does bad in March, where in the veteran comfort zone, now he's on the watch list.
Okay. So we have to hope that the leg is healed. That's one thing.
Did COVID get him? Is the leg healed? Is he able to sort of build himself back up?
Right, exactly. So there's a couple of variables there, but if everything is good and he's coming in fresh, he's in a good spot to perform well.
Fine. Him and Takayasu just make a run at it.
Did you picture Takayasu Okinoumi for the tournament?
Hey, this is... You can say something ridiculous happening. I'll be like, this is the tournament for it.
Right. March is the tournament for something crazy to happen.
Yeah. You want to tell me that Kotoku's on? The newbie? Never been in Jiryu before?
Oh boy, is he gonna...
Zensho Yusho? I'll be like, sure!
Why not? Let's do it!
Let's pull that ripcord. Let's see what happens.
Although I have to say, Mitakeumi winning in January just destroyed the new winners.
It was.
That was disappointing.
Yeah, we have to hang that up a bit.
It was fun having a new winner every single month.
Maybe next year we'll get someone else to do it.
I bet you we will. Because once Terunofuji is done, it's going to be a complete free-for-all. And we don't know. That being done could be sooner than later.
That's true.
We'll see.
Oho, next year? Come on.
That would be fun. So next we have Chiyoshoma, Maegashira 8 East, down from Maegashira 4 West, 4-11. The trickster got the tricks pulled on him. He did. Multiple times.
He got the Uno reverse card, and they're like, "We're gonna trick you today," and he's like, "Oh."
I like him, but I thought it was really funny.
There is a bit of like when it comes to Chiyoshoma, like whenever you're a trickster like that, like when you get tricked, like the fun is in you losing, and that's just
even he had to think a little bit.
I feel like there were a couple of times like you saw him laughing to himself. He's just like, ah, damn it, you know.
This is what I do to people.
He's just like, ah.
So I mean, nothing really to be alarmed about in the sense that he was up pretty high.
Yeah, there was I feel like Chiyoshoma got away with it for long enough that we're just like, all right, okay, you go back down now.
You just have to hope though that none of the guys down there watched that performance and said, now I'm gonna do it to you too.
I don't think they can do it.
Tobizaru could. But
true.
then again, you expect Tobizaru to do it. That's the thing. Oh boy. Well, Chiyoshoma, I'm sure you'll give us plenty of tricks.
15 days of fun with Chiyoshoma.
I'm sure he'll do fine at Myogiryu 8 East.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried. Again, he's below the veteran line.
Exactly.
So he'll be fine. That's where he wants to be.
Speaking of those veterans, we have Sadanoumi, Myogiryu 8 West, up from Myogiryu 11 East, 8 and 7. So we have another veteran who's starting to make a little bit of a push.
Yeah, this is a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
Because when Sadanoumi left, it was like he sort of did, when he went down to Jiryu, it was a little bit on a whimper. It didn't really feel right. Yeah. Now he's making his surge again. You're just like, I knew you still had it. Because whenever they get down there, and it's just like these, like, really, like, the Kaisei.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to watch this. I know you still got something left in there.
But how much?
Yeah, but Sadanomi's is like, I found the second gas can. Let's go.
Well, you know, a lot of these veterans are probably getting energized by the resurgence of the veterans.
Uh-huh.
Like, nobody's ready to really give it up yet.
Everybody's looking at each other. We're just like, we're going to hang in there.
Well, part of that is because we don't have a ton of, like, Goeidos and, I'm trying to think of some of the old Koto Shogikus, and, like, just the young guys are not living up to the hype yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the veterans are like, I'm at least good enough to be in the top division.
Yeah, I can beat these bastards. Let's go.
Exactly. So it's a little bit of a comment on how not stable the young guys are, but we'll give Sadanoumi his credit, and should be interesting when he fights Chiyoshoma, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, they're right next to each other. They're gonna scrap.
And then, Sadanoumi and Takayasu, it's probably been a while since they fought.
There's gonna be a little bit of a mix-up.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of familiar faces in that lineup. So next we have the Flying Monkey himself, Tobizaru, Myogiryu 9 East, down from Myogiryu 8 West. I just have to say,
whatever.
How does a man manage to fly out of the ring on a Yurikiri? Like, I do not think this Flying Monkey name was just like a joke. It's just the truth.
It's who he is.
Yeah, it's not like he's doing it on purpose, like exaggerating it. He just has something, so much spring in his step or something.
He's just uncoiled spring, just balancing.
Pretty much. I mean, I've never seen anybody fly 4 rows back from a Yurikiri.
It's special. It's something only he can do.
Only he can do it. This is his brand of sumo is craziness.
It's craziness, yes. And whatever his contacts are in the Banzuke committee to make a 6 and 9, bring him down a half step.
I know. We have to talk about how favorable it's been for multiple tournaments.
He has. I'm pulling this up. Now, by the way, keep it going. It's fine. I don't want a policy change. I'm gonna put that out right here and there. But yeah, he has not had a winning record all in the last year.
And yet he's just hanging out at Myogiryu 90s.
2, 3, 8, stays at 8, stays at 8 again. And he's like, we gotta bop him down, guys. It's starting to look weird.
I don't want anybody to notice.
Don't know if anyone sees it. Let's see. Okay, so the last time he had a winning record was, in fact, a year ago. So he's now due for his annual 10
and 5.
Annual Kachikoshi.
Right? Exactly. One one Kachikochi a year, and you're fine.
That's just enough. Just keep going.
It's curious.
You can see why there again, like the flying out everywhere. He's a big face. He's doing well.
Well, that's it.
And
he draws.
He's a draw. And to be fair, like the 7s and 8s, like there are some records that it's a 7 and 8 is basically a tie.
Right.
And so, credit to Tobizaru for hanging in there and showing the good sumo while going flying into the stands in almost every match. But it's
kind of like if you're at SeaWorld and like the whale's gonna splash and it's like be wary of being in the first 4 rows. If you're in a Tobizaru match, like you have to be concerned.
You're in the splash zone.
Exactly.
The flying monkey splash zone. So what is there to say outside of 15 days of entertainment whenever he's on the ring?
I'll say just quickly that his brother did not get kicked out of sumo for gambling, and he's not going to have a police record over it.
Charges dropped.
So
Hidenomi also dropped Sujiryo,
but now everything's kind of, he doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Now maybe he can...
One less pressure on the mind.
Maybe he won't fly out at the next Shurikiri. So next we have Wakamotoharu. Has a pretty significant jump from Myogiryu 15 East to Myogiryu 9 West, 9 and 6. Very nice start to his debut.
Decisive.
And it's going to be very exciting because his brother is so high up. The younger brother, how hungry is Wakamotoharu?
He proved a 9 and 6 is not a just barely made it. And It is interesting because another person who was in January new to the top division, Oho, had a complete choke.
That was bad.
It was a bad choke. And so, I'm looking at Oho, I'm like, that's not what you'd expect, but that's what can happen to you when you're first time.
Absolutely.
So you look at that 9 and 6, and you look at them giving him the nice, generous bump up, and that's we're gonna test you a little more.
See what you can do.
See what you can do. So they're letting him into the veteran stew.
They are, because even if he has a spectacular fail, he's not going to drop out of the top division.
He's fine. He is set. When you're at he's at 9 West. It's not even double digit. He's pretty safe. And now we'll see the sophomore slump sometimes. Like if you don't get it on the first one, sometimes it's the second one. Being said, it was solid sumo. These were not fluke wins. He didn't do dumb henkas. We didn't get some weird judges help. It was just solid.
He looks like a pretty serious guy.
Pretty serious guy. Also good belt stuff. It's interesting because you sort of expect the brothers to have similar fighting styles.
But they never do.
Yeah, and Tobizaru and Hidenomi's the same way. Tobizaru's really crazy flying around, and Hidenomi just grab you and throw you. So it's a dynamics thing, which is it's cool to see. I'm excited for him. I want to see where this type train goes.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when brothers are in, they never fight each other. So it's almost like they're on a team as well, but they're not. They're in different stables. So it just adds an extra fun dynamic. I always love when brothers are around. And I'm just looking forward to seeing more from him because it felt like that tournament went by so quick in terms of watching him specifically because there was all these other storylines going on.
A lot going on.
I don't expect storylines this time around. Perhaps I'm wrong. But, I don't expect, top storylines. Terunofuji's solid. Mitakeumi's now Ozeki. I don't expect him to win unless Terunofuji is not in top shape. So I think the stories are going to be around some of these other guys.
Yeah. Well, this is also, this is sort of the lower crust interest now.
Yes.
Here's the stories on the bottom half.
That will eventually be the stories we're talking about a year from now.
In the top half. Or not.
Right.
Or not.
Hopefully.
Or Sumo catches up to him. But I'm optimistic for Wakamotoharu.
Yes.
I feel like he's going to keep climbing. I feel like we don't know where his limit is.
Right. We just don't know enough about him yet.
So we'll give him the second go. We'll see. We'll give him another spin. Let's see what happens when the top 6 people up ahead. Oh yeah, there's like this wall of veteran muscle in front of him right now. He's got to climb this, and then he gets to he's got a story coming.
And I really am looking forward to somebody new impressing us.
Yeah.
So whenever a new guy does something good, you want to like throw all your support behind him and be like, "Come on, man,
go get him." You want the brother story too. There's a lot going for him. You
want the brother story, exactly. So, good luck. I'm hoping for some very good sumo out of him. Next we have Shimanoumi, Myogiryu 10 East, down for Myogiryu 9 West, 5, 6, and 4, injured, like obviously injured. So, I mean, what do you really take from that? Was there any part of his sumo that looked to be a problem that wasn't a result of the injury?
I don't think so. Him and Okinoumi have a very similar story. Yeah. That both of them probably would have done better if they weren't handicapped, so you don't know if there's something wrong.
Right.
And so in March, for Shimanoumi, I'm like, okay, you're down a little bit lower, like a half rung, so not really that much. Which is kind of nice to be 5 and 10 and go down a half rung. Yeah. By the way, if you look at the entire like lower crust, they're all makakoshi, with a few exceptions. So this is where the banzuke starts to get really funky.
Right. That's where they get to be creative.
If you get a little, they're like, okay, somebody's got to go up. Oh, who do we got? Okay, we got to be a little. Yeah, anyway, so with Shimanoumi, the feeling, the gut says he recovers. He does a little better. 9 and 6.
Interesting. 9 and 6.
Good enough to keep going back upwards. Maybe an 8 and 7 if he's still having a little bit of issues. Maybe you got the COVIDs. Maybe the injury's weird. But I mean, he did have like the new married energy going into January. I'm just like, he's got it, and then leg.
You know, injuries are interesting because you have this whole month in between to heal. And I don't actually have a concept of how long some of these injuries actually take to heal.
Yeah. So also for us, like if I break my ankle, it'll be 2 months.
Right.
But I don't.
You're not going to physical therapy and getting cortisone shots and.
I'm not. Like my body isn't trained to kill itself every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I stub my toe, I am just sore about it for hours.
That's kind of the point I'm making is this is an area where it's hard to relate because if we got some of these injuries, it would be like I broke my thumb once. It took 7 months.
Yeah.
These guys come in and fight after a day.
Yeah, they'll break their thumb and it's like, tape it.
Exactly. So it's hard when you see somebody with an injury to actually know if it's possible to be healed in time.
Yeah. Well, they'll just fight with it. They'll just when it hits good enough, they're just back on the leg.
Exactly.
It's just their ironclad warrior spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and that's also it's sort of the reminder. Like we talk about people fighting injured, and they talk about your willpower's there, it's not there. It's just like these are demigods that we're talking about.
Right, because the average person is not going to fight through the amount of pain that a sumo wrestler will fight through. Most certainly not. Yeah. So, speaking of injured, yeah. Perpetually injured, Aoiyama, 10 West, up from Myogiryu 16 East. They gave him a pretty nice jump for an 8 and 7.
Yeah. Well, if you look again, so just going down the list of other people, Myogiryu, Makakoshi, Terutsuyoshi, Makakoshi, Chiyotairyu, Makakoshi, and then all the people, there's 2 people that are with positive records in that chunk.
Wow, that's crazy.
And only one of them was already in the top division, and that was an 8 and 7. So this whole bottom rung is just a weird place.
Right, and you don't even know what kind of shape anything we're in.
So for Aoiyama, basically, they're just we're just gonna drag him up.
Because why not?
Because he's got he has the precedence that he's higher up.
Right, when he's not injured, he can fight pretty well. And that's really the question with him. I mean, he is in the twilight of his career.
Uh-huh.
And he suffered a lot of injuries.
Yeah, so worth noting that his last March, he had a Fighting Spirit prize.
Yep.
And the March before that, he had a Fighting Spirit prize.
Very interesting.
And the March before that,
whoa,
he had a Fighting Spirit prize. And that was just an okay one. So, something about March
I like this.
Does it for Aoiyama.
Let's hope that continues.
X Factor 1. X Factor 2, if he's healed, this is a guy who's normally in, 5 to 10.
Right, he should be able to bulldoze everybody.
So, the Aoiyama fan is going to say, is going to say Aoiyama's going to do well this tournament. Then again, the injuries he's been looking, it's been more and more drastic. Not sure. But there's something in that March air for him.
Right, so maybe even if he's injured, he'll still pull it off.
That's my hope.
That is crazy.
Get another March out of him.
I love when that happens, when somebody just has the tournament that's their tournament.
It's their tournament.
Unfortunately, Takakeisho's is November, so I'll have to wait a while.
Gotta wait a little bit.
Next we have Myogiryu, 11 East, down from Ishiura, 10 East, injured. Prior to, I think it was 2 tournaments ago, he was looking great, and he was looking healthy. There were no injuries. There was nothing slowing him down. He was stable.
You show contention, out of nowhere, until they just started throwing him to people.
Yeah, I think that's what it is that when you're hanging down at the lower levels, you fight the lower level guys. You get that bump up, and the competition is so much harder on your body when you're his age. So he inevitably gets the injury. But now he's back down to sort of the level that he's good at. So unless that injury is not healing, he should probably do pretty good.
Should be fine. Like on paper, at risk. Historically, he's fine. And performance-wise, if he's not injured, there's going to be no problems. It's a lot of conditions, a lot of if kind of thing going on. And this is sort of what the problem is with Myogiryu right now. Is that he's a little bit too low to get wishy-washy.
Ever since he said, "Don't call me a veteran," he's had nothing but bad luck. Just embrace the veteran status. Come on, man. It's all right. So he's a big question mark. We'll have to see what his tournament looks like. Next, we have probably the biggest question mark for 6 tournaments. Terutsuyoshi. He maintains the same rank with a 7 and 8. We've said what there is to say about Terutsuyoshi.
Yeah, I feel like he does everything. The good, the bad, the ugly.
He has heart.
He's got techniques. It feels like he is his own obstacle when it comes to progression. And it's just there needs to be something
that changes.
Something that changes. Can he change? Is it a thing?
I know what it is. He needs a phone call from Hoshoryu. He needs a 4-hour lecture because
he needs to get chewed out.
One of the funny parts of that segment also was that Mitakeumi makes a joke. "Oh, can you give me a 4-hour lecture?" And then Hoshoryu says, "The problem with you is you talk too much as it is." So he's a savage. We'll put that there. But I feel like if he could get the right, I don't know if it's a physical trainer or some sort of change in the gym, because a lot of guys, you'll see how they did all sumo training and then they added weight training. I don't know what his training regimen looks like. He needs something to change in his training that helps him when he's on their match day. Because match day, it doesn't come together. He's got a million tricks. He's got a million ideas. And when he gets out there, they fall apart. There's got to be a way to train such that when he's in the moment, it just works out. So maybe it is a call from Hoshoryu. I don't know.
There's something to that. You gotta get evil Terunofuji. You give him a goatee, and then he just shows up and he's just it's time for your lecture.
I'm guessing you're not allowed to have facial hair because I've never seen a sumo with facial hair, but that would be super cool if they would allow that.
Go to a Halloween shop and put it on, and then he shows up and just we have to talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would do wonders for him.
Get chewed out.
Well, it's got to be hard being in Terutsuyoshi's stable and being a fiery guy like him. So he's probably putting a lot of pressure on himself, and that's just not doing him any favors.
He needs,
So, let's make a prediction. Are we gonna get the same old Terutsuyoshi, or is he gonna surprise us?
I'm gonna say steady as she goes.
And I'm gonna say he's gonna surprise us.
We're gonna have a divide here. So you gotta bring this up.
Yes, this is coming back up at the end of the tournament to see who was right. I've got my feeling that Terutsuyoshi's going to do something interesting. I'm not saying that he's going to be 11-4, but I think he's going to do something interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So when I say steady as the course, like the same old roller coaster, and this
right.
is
You feel like 7 and 8.
Yeah. Well, like again, like the 7 and 8, like that's just the number you write down. Like for Terutsuyoshi, like he has his brain dead moments, and then there's like I still remember like the throw that he did on Takayama. Like he spun, and like his arm just like did the snap, like almost sassy like, and he's just like, yeah, I got it. And then you're just like, why can't you do that every day?
Yeah, like why? If we did a highlight reel of him, he would look like amazing.
He'd be like, wow, this guy's so good. What rank is he? Just like he can't get his stuff together. And you're like, no way,
not that guy.
Have you seen the reel? You made the reel anyway. So I expect like the highs and the lows, and like again to all balance out into this weird package.
And I'm going to go with he's going to be the most focused he's ever been and do something crazy.
Okay.
This is in terms of like that's what would happen in a Stormy Basho. Right?
I guess.
So I'm going with the story.
You're going with the chaos in the chaos.
Exactly.
Okay.
So he's going to be the one that flips some tables in my mind. But we'll see.
Maybe he flips the Gyoji.
I think you might get in trouble for that one.
Like one of those like bumps into the Gyoji and then they go flying like they're made of paper.
Exactly. Yeah, it is kind of funny. They're kind of like dolls.
Yeah, they are. You just go whoosh.
So
we'll get one of those in there for Terutsuyoshi too.
So next we have Kotoeko, Myogiryu 12 East, up from Myogiryu 17 East, 8 and 7. This guy just, I don't know what to say. Because he looks strong, but he doesn't seem strong.
It felt like it finally something clicked. I don't know what clicked. I don't know how
you can't even
to describe it. But it felt like his frantic squabbling seemed to work out this time. And I'm like, I couldn't explain to you. Like maybe if I watched did some film study like Abi and watched all of his fights over and over, be like, oh, he's doing this thing now.
Right.
It's like I feel like I would need to become a forensic sumoologist to be able to describe whatever the heck is going on with Kotoeko.
I completely agree with you. And I like Kotoeko, and when he first showed up, I was like, this is my guy. I don't understand him.
Yeah. So the good news is, 8 and 7 up 5 ranks. So maybe he's got a stay of execution long enough to keep whatever he did going.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be too hard, if he is who we think he is, to at least get another 8 and 7 and Myogiryu 12. But he had such a collapse without even being injured the last time that it was like, I don't know who you are. So we'll see if the storminess has any impact.
Bad news is that he's not quite out of reach of Tochinoshin. Good news for us.
Yes.
Bad news for him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not looking forward to that.
But he is, again, the Meisei 12 should at least give him a couple of Makakoshis before he's in Juryo.
Right.
To keep figuring it out, to keep building, to become whatever, glorious butterfly he will become if he actually figures this all out. If there's something in there. Right. There's some kernel of greatness I don't know how to quantify.
Yeah, he's sometimes he doesn't seem like a sumo wrestler. Right?
No, I feel there are some days you're just like, oh, dude, look at that, he got the belt, he spun, he threw him well. And other days you're just like, you just took some guy and just put a diaper on him. What's wrong with you?
Right, I could picture him being, in a different martial art.
That's interesting.
That's kind of the vibe I get. Is I could picture him in judo or even karate or something. He lacks the sumo form sometimes, and that's amateur commentary. I'm sure an analyst would say, "Oh no, you're totally wrong because of X, Y, and Z."
Probably.
My feeling when I watch him is I don't know that he looks like a sumo wrestler to me. That's all I could say. So, we will see. Another question mark guy. So, next we go to Chiyotairyu, Myogiryu 12 West. He maintains his rank with a 7 and 8. He's not looking so good these days.
The Chiyo chunk is not looking good. All three of the Chiyos are right next to each other, and
yeah, look at that.
They all have a very grimly similar story of people hanging on for dear life, or worse.
Yeah.
But for Chiyotairyu, it really is just him holding on, just getting as many tournaments as he can out of the top division. I don't see a path out of this for him.
No, it's gonna stay pretty stable in terms of.
He's just gonna Chiyotairyu his way all the way until the ship sinks.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Not an issue. He did give it the old college try. He tried losing weight. He tried adjusting his game. It didn't work.
And that's when you just sort of realize, okay, I gotta. Well, he did that for his own personal health, so this is a tricky situation.
Yeah.
So you don't want to necessarily encourage him to go back to his form just to fight.
Just to fight.
But you have to understand, which we don't, what's going on behind the scenes. Like, what is keeping him in sumo? So if he's staying in sumo to get the elder stock, then, maybe you don't have to get so big. Just get big enough to stay in. If you're doing it for some other reason, then maybe you gain the weight back again. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but we'll say I think he's just high enough so that he's not going to get knocked out in a bad record.
Yeah, he's not
Just
in the danger zone.
out of the danger zone. So good for now.
Yeah, not too many concerns. Next we have the next Chiyomaru. Myogiryu 13E, same rank, 7 and 8. It's just a different feeling with him in terms of, it just seems like he's happy to be there.
Yeah.
It's like an Akisayama vibe.
Very much. That's very good. He's our jolly sumo.
He is our jolly sumo.
So it's like with Chiyomaru, you're just like, if he's here, it's a good day. He's happy. If he goes down to Juryo, you feel like he won't mind.
Right. It doesn't seem like, the end of the world.
The end of the world. Like, Chiyotairyu goes to Juryo, you're just like,
what's happening to him?
Uh-oh.
Now, some of that is just the impression that you get when somebody's there. But, Chiyomaru always seems to be happy.
Yeah, and he's been in the Juryo and he's coming up. So, in a way, he's still climbing. He's holding rank, and as it is. But you're just like for somebody like him who's dipped down and came back up, it feels like this is the victory lap.
Exactly.
He's already above where you'd expect him, even if he's slipping back down.
Right, exactly.
And then somebody like Chiyotairyu, who we've only ever seen him in the top division.
Right, it has a different feeling.
It's almost like a grimness.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is that Chiyomaru just wasn't able to hold on to it like Chiyotairyu was. And so he's had more time to sort of accept it. So there's a little part of same with Ishiura. He spends some time in the upper division, then he goes back down to Juryo, and you do it enough times and you just sort of accept it. You may not like it, but you get used to it. Okay, I'm here again, but I can go back up. Something like Chiyotairyu, it doesn't feel like he would feel that way. If he went down this is it. This is the end for me. So, Chiyomaru doing his thing. It'll be good to see him. Lime green belt. Chiyo no Kuni. Myogiryu 13 West, down from Myogiryu 9 East. 4 and 11. Here's a guy where there's no jolliness to this, because he's been in Juryo for a while with these injuries. He finally makes it back up, and the injuries are just, they're not stopping. So, he's Ikiyoi part 2.
Yeah, he's completely taped together, hobbled together. It's similar to Takakesho, but he just wasn't able to get as high before it hit him.
And that's really the thing, isn't it? In a way, you sort of have a stopwatch when you go into sumo, especially if you're somebody who either, in Chiyo no Kuni's case, it could be bad luck, but it could be just the type of sumo he does. But it's okay, you're a young guy, go, get as high as you can before the injuries mount and you're done. Or
you get crushed.
And that is Chiyo no Kuni. He was actually headed up pretty high when he got, I don't remember which injury. Oh, I think it was an elbow with Tamawashi.
Tamawashi elbow.
When he got that injury, it knocked him right out. He was out several tournaments, went all the way down to the bottom, had to work his way back up. But unlike Terunofuji or some of these other guys, more injuries followed. So it's not like he could recover from the one and come back the way he was. That was it.
Nowadays he's just covered in tape. And really, it's can he be held together long enough to survive the tournament? It's almost like his skill, which is there, almost doesn't factor in.
And it's so sad because I really, really like him and I really like his style. But that is the unfortunate thing about sumo, like, or any contact sport, but especially sumo. You're not guaranteed just because you have skill.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to, part of me is just like, I'll just get that one good tournament and I'll be going back up. It's just like, but you need more than one, and you don't even know if he's going to get that one back. So in the meantime, who's up for a bar fight?
Right, exactly. When you look at someone like Chiyonokuni or Tochinoshin, you really see the sad state of it. That you can be the strongest, toughest guy in the world, and it might not matter. And it tells you how tough the guys at the top really are.
They really are.
Because some of them are not nearly as strong as Tochinoshin or Chiyonokuni, but they either have age on their side, luck on their side, or just such a tenacity that, they were going to get this no matter what. So, unfortunate for Chiyonokuni. I'd like to say, oh, he's going to win. But we know that he's going to do what he's doing, which is just be duct taped together.
Hang in there.
Hopefully he is not a
COVID.
No, wow. What is the term when you are not in the tournament? Kyujo. Wow. Losing my mind.
Fine. We're almost at the end.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Hopefully he's not one of the guys. Like, I kind of have a bad feeling we're going to have some Kyujos. I don't know.
If you've got a lot of people in COVID, me and...
Right, some people may not be worth it to them to, try to fight through anymore.
Yeah. And if they're already injured and they got this one thing on top of it, they're just like...
The problem for Shodai and Takakeisho is they don't have the luxury of doing that.
Nope. They're gonna lose their rank. But for Chiyonokuni, get him, what would you say, 6 wins, and we still keep him?
Yeah, I think if he goes 6-9, he'll take that bottom spot. Well, depending on the other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's another disaster.
6 wins, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
5 wins...
We're going to see. So as far as Koto Shoho is concerned, he's back up from Juryo 2 West, Maegashira 14 East. He had a very definitive 11-4, so it's not like some fluky thing where, he kind of scraped back in. He made a definitive statement that he's ready to come back to the upper division.
Yeah, it's a matter of, is he going to bring baggage with him into Juryo? Or from Juryo? So, he came up, he was going to be the new hotness, he had injuries, but then there was also some mental issues. Maybe he worked that all out in Juryo, maybe he's still getting there.
He's still pretty young, so he's not like the aging veteran that goes down. He's got a potential to sort of start over if all goes well. If he's the rising star that we thought he was going to be.
Yeah. Well, he's got potential. He's a little untested now. We don't know how the top division's going to treat him.
Right, exactly.
But I'm optimistic that the talent's still there, the hunger's still there, and there is the sort of like the Abi effect that you got through the adversity, now you're stronger.
Right.
Maybe. Or maybe who knows? We got to find out.
We're going to find out if he's stronger. Which is always exciting when they do wind up stronger.
Yeah. The optimism.
The optimism train. Until we get to Yu Takayama. He is Maegashira 14 West, down from Maegashira 13 West, 6-9. He is in the same stable as Shodai. I can just imagine that this is a very depressing stable to be in. Yu Takayama is hanging on with duct tape and, a hope and a dream, really.
So here's his tournament stable. He only got Shodai, and then he got to go into Mukushita for the next hope.
He got no Juryo.
So I'm looking at Toki Hayate to start going on a run. Toki Hayate, your job is to just win every match and then help your friends out in the top division.
Yeah, and give them something exciting so when you make it to Juryo, they get to have a big party.
Big parties, donations, get some tuna or something.
We need to send them some gift baskets.
Not Yoshi, don't trust him. But Toki Hayate.
What about Shohoryu? I mean, it's like Hoshoryu, but Shohoryu.
going to keep an eye on him too. One of these two. They're going to make a break for it, and then there's going to be that ray of sunshine and hope.
And Eeyore is going to be like,
no more Eeyore.
Everything's good now.
Give him his tail back.
Exactly.
Unfortunately for you, Takayama, like the mental issues, the stable issues, he's got a lot of issues. Like, if he could focus on one thing, he'd be fine. But, like, he's taped together Ikkyoi style, like Shionokuni. He's got his mental game, it's off. Goodness knows what's going on.
With, they had the coaching issue.
The coaching issues, COVID's running through. I mean, he could have COVID the same way Shodai had COVID.
Right, we don't know anything. Yeah. We only know some of the big names who had it. Yeah. We know 200 people had it, so... I mean, the whole list could have had it for all we know. But, yeah, we'll be lucky if he just scrapes by.
For him, if we... my hope is he stays in the top division.
And that's really the best goal for him?
It's just maybe you can get to Megashira 13, 8 and 7, that'd be nice. I feel like for him, I need to temper expectations. I can't.
It'll be too hard.
Can't hope too much. But
we can have optimism without
blind ignorance.
Exactly. Takayama's shown us enough now that this train is permanent.
This may be a cycle he can't break out of.
Exactly. Which brings us to another sort of down situation with Aqua. Maegashira 15 East, down for Maegashira 10 West, 4-11. The worst we've seen of Aqua.
It was really bad. I feel like some of this is my fault, because during the January beginning, I'm like, Aqua is having fun. He did well in November, and then we're going into January, like, Aqua, more throws, more crazy stuff. And he did all the throws and crazy stuff in January and set none of it up. He just dry fired judo throws. And I was just like, no, not like that.
Yeah, and then you sabotaged me because I picked him in all these fantasy sumo leagues and I got demolished.
So the good news is that now the bad luck is not coming from Aqua, it was from somewhere else. Aqua's problem was always that the bad luck was his. Like the
car accidents.
The COVID, the bike accident. So it's like this time it wasn't his fault. So he's clear to rebuild.
He can go to the temple, get a charm, and pretend like January never happened.
Never happened.
Some guys, that's what they have to do. So the optimistic side of us would say, Aqua, it's a new day.
New day for Aqua. Lower down enough so he should be okay. Yeah, he can get 8 wins from there. No problem. No problem.
Well, it's working out for these guys to have these 16 and 17 spots.
Yeah.
Like, if we ever get another Yokozuna and some of these spots disappear, then, there's not so much of a cushion anymore.
Less cushion. It gets pulled away.
So, speaking of probably the most down story at the bottom, it would be Tochinoshin. Positive in that he maintains his rank with a 7 and 8. How much longer do we have Tochinoshin?
It's a tournament by tournament basis at this point. Every time he's in there, you're like, one more.
And then you think oh no, it's going so bad, this is it. And he pulls it off at the very end.
So the 7 and 8, he stayed rank. I don't know how long he can get away with that, but a 7 and 8, and he's definitely still in the top. I think a 6 and 9, he'll be okay. But the 6 and 9, he needs other people to do badly. And then if he has double-digit losses, he's just too far down.
Yeah. So, really, we have to be cautious each tournament and just hope that he, where he is now, if he gets another 7 and 8, he probably stays. But if it's a 6, he's going to have to rely on other people.
Yeah.
If it's a 5, which we've seen before, that might be it.
Yeah, it'll be it.
They're going to try very hard to keep him there.
Keep him here. He's only moving in one direction these days, and it's...
down.
It's down. It's a shame, but it's this is the twilight years for him, and just we've said this time and again, just appreciate him while he's here, because once he's gone,
That's it.
I mean, it's not even with the others.
Right, because he's going back to Georgia.
Yeah, it's not, every once in a while, you'll see Takakaze walking around, you'll see Yoshikaze, you see Amanishiki, you're just
see Hakuho.
You see that, Hakuho. You see all of them, all the people that we remember watching. It's not the same as them being in the ring, but when Tochinoshin's gone, that is
Yeah, we'll be lucky, that if he doesn't make some appearances like Hoshoryu does.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, Georgia's a lot further away than, some of the other countries people are in. So, when he goes back to Georgia, I do think he was going to start a sumo school. So maybe he'll be coming back and forth.
Maybe he'll send some people.
But you're not going to see him on tournament days.
Still be. So just every time you see Tochinoshin, sometimes it'll be a rough day. Sometimes it's a real pain to watch. But he's still
just
here.
Commit it to your memory.
He's here. Just remember he's here with us.
Exactly. So next we go to Nishikigi, Maegashira 16 East, up from Juryo 2 East. 9 and 6. It's been a while.
I saw him. I'm just like, oh hey.
So it's kind of hard to know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. It's been so long that I don't really have a beat on him. I don't really remember a lot of his stuff. You don't know if he just sort of wormed his way up to the top division or if he's on a tear. You can't. There's a lot of mystery.
He's part of the veteran comeback tour.
Yeah, it is, which feels a little weird to say because back when we were watching Nishikigi, he wasn't a veteran. He aged into veteranhood.
Yeah, a little quicker than.
We're just I guess you are a veteran now. But optimistic, staying optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just now he's here in the top division. Maybe he'll pull all these people right here. Let's just start hanging out in this chunk.
Start a band.
Oh yeah, we got a good 5-person veteran band right here. Takayasu.
We got to find out who the best singer is.
They do singing a lot over there.
I know.
I mean, not just karaoke. They do sumo singing all the time.
All that old school Jinko or something like that. It's these guys love it.
Get the singing going. Yeah. So Nishikigi, maybe he'll join the band, the veteran band. Maybe he's just poking his head in to say hi.
And then
we don't know.
We'll see you later.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, it'd be hey, good to see you again. You see your friend at a party and then you go back to not seeing him for 2 years.
Pretty much.
That could be this, or he comes and hangs. He's I'm moving in from out of state.
Oh, so I'll see you around the block a little bit more.
Yeah,
you gonna come to the party on Saturday night?
We got a thing going on. I got a new barbecue. Come on over.
Exactly.
Come on over. Come on, Nishikigi.
That's the optimistic side.
Yeah.
Speaking of totally out of the blue, Kotokuzan, up from Juryo 4 West, 10 and 5, first time in the top division, a man who spent most of his career in Makushita.
Makushita, 3rd division, so he's not even in Juryo slumming it.
He barely has spent any time in Juryo.
He wasn't even a salaried wrestler for a long time.
And now he's in the top division.
And he goes into Juryo, gets back-to-back double-digit wins. You blink, and we've got a new friend. So
the question is, do they have a lot of faith in him? Because sometimes they won't let you in, even with back-to-back double digits. Was it that everybody else stunk?
I don't know. Let's see. So he was 14. Got 11-4. They bump him up 10 rungs.
Mm.
So a 10 and 5 at Juryo 4. That's standard issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the weird X factor. Look at all this Makushita. So he is not.
He is he is totally untested.
So this is for him in the top division. This is new to everyone.
Whose stable is he in?
He's the Daieisho stable. So he's hanging out with Wakamotoharu, Wakatakakage.
Oh, well now that's an interesting factor.
Yep. Yeah, when we were talking about Wakatakakage before, he's just he's bringing his friends with him.
That's right.
Friends with him, and now we got Waka Takamoto, the third brother, is on 13, so maybe he's making a break for it. 13's a little bit out of break.
Maybe he wants to join the brother band.
Yeah, the brother band. There you go. The Daieisho stable symphonic suite.
Exactly. So he's going to be a big question mark. Hard to know what he's even capable of.
Very looking forward. This is a complete blank slate. We don't know what we're going to get. He probably doesn't know what's going to happen.
We need some fun. He's going to be the fun guy.
We're going to show up and be what do you got for us today? We're going to lean forward, you look at the lunch lady.
It's Kotokuzan. Let's pay attention.
Let's see what's going to happen.
Which is a totally different vibe than when we get to our next man, Kageyaki. Maegashira 17 East. Up from Juryo 1 East, 8 and 7. That's not convincing.
That wasn't the I don't belong here win. That was the I scraped it together win, which is a lot more of the Kageyaki that we know.
Nothing has changed.
He's not been down there long enough for some sort of a mystery transition. So I don't I don't feel like Hagiyaki's going to go on a break. I don't feel like he's solved his problems. I felt like he just went low enough that he can just win.
Right.
That being said, I'd love to be wrong.
Maybe he'll be a huge surprise.
Maybe he'll turn it all together. Maybe Juryo is a sobering moment.
I hope it was a sobering moment.
That is always it's the penalty box for some of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, you cross-check and get in there.
Exactly, and then I'll come back out in 5 minutes.
Come back out, yeah.
So, you know, he hasn't been the same for a long time, so maybe his time in Juryo did something.
Maybe.
But I'm not saying he will be bad, but I don't have a good feeling.
Yeah, it's
I have an uneasiness.
Uneasiness, that's the word. But we'll keep a side eye on him. He's still waiting on his break.
Yeah. So next and finally we have Ichi Yamamoto. He was Maegashira 14 West, dropped down to the mercy spot of Maegashira 17 West with a 5 and 10.
Just barely.
He very easily could be in Juryo right now.
Yeah, he got lucky. If Hidenoumi didn't have the gambling problems,
he'd be out.
But the way that Ichi Yamamoto can look at this is nowhere to go but up. You just look at this, you just get your stuff together. He can do it. He's got the skills. He's good at pushing. He's got the surprise belt stuff. The 5 and 10 was like this weird collapse. So he sort of brushes himself back up, and he's just like, only way to look is upwards.
He's a good candidate for forget the last tournament.
Forget the last tournament. It never happened.
He seems to have potential to put together something. So we're just gonna have to see.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I feel like the talent is there. But, like, if he starts looking downwards, if he's just like, he gets the mind games going, if he's like, I can't lose, he's gone.
Exactly.
He's gone. So
he's got no room for failure.
No room for failure. So he can't think about failure. Right. There's no failure.
Put the blinders on and just look ahead.
Just go. And then he'll be fine. Double-digit wins. It's that simple, I think, for him.
It really is that simple. But it's simple in word, maybe not in deed. So, predictions.
All right. So, scrolling back up, I feel like this is a higher up tournament. We're not going to have any weird dark horses. The smart money is Terunofuji or Abi. If Terunofuji comes back like a raging storm, no problems.
No one's beating him. He still has that urgency, so he did say he wanted double-digit U-shows. And he also said that he's on he knows he doesn't have much time. He doesn't have a lot of time. So, if he's I think he's at 6. Yeah, he's at 6, which means that if he wants 10 by the end of the year, he needs to win 4 of these next 5 because he's already goofed up on January. Right. So, that being said, you had mentioned he had the COVIDs, and he's coming back injured. So there is for the first time in a little while, there's a little bit of uncertainty around Terunofuji. I still think it's going to be Terunofuji or Abi. For one of those two are probably going to get it the smart money. But if I had to do a dark horse pick, I'd say it'd be Kotonowaka. Which would be extremely exciting if something like that happened. Yeah. I think for Ishiura, maybe a little bit too high. I don't know if he can pivot. I feel like the pivots in Kotonowaka. I can see Hoshoryu or Wakatakakage making a go at it, but I don't see them getting it. I see them being in the running. Because there's a lot of grit you need at the very end to win. And they're just too new. So I feel like the smart money is Abi or Terunofuji. If I had to pick for somebody off the beaten path, it'd be Kotonowaka. So I'm going to go with, I think Terunofuji could possibly be in a bad spot. He could possibly go Kyujo and either only be there for the first couple of days and start doing the Hakuho Kakadu thing, or not even show up at all. And it's all going to have to do with how well he's recovering from COVID. I don't see him taking a risk if he doesn't have to. So, if he's not feeling good leading up to the tournament, I could see him just never entering into it. If he's feeling good, really good, everything's good, I think he'll come in and he'll probably win the tournament. If he's iffy, I think he will start the tournament and go Kyujo by day 3. So I'm not going to put my money on him because of the uncertainty. I'm going to put my money actually on Abi. Abi can beat anybody on this list, except for he hasn't beaten Terunofuji yet, but he can. He can. And especially if Terunofuji's out, then that's not even a consideration. Abi is unstoppable. Barring some sort of catastrophic event, catastrophic injury, who's going to beat him? I don't think Mitakeumi's got it in him to do back-to-back.
Mitakeumi is going to make some waves. I see double-digit wins on him.
Yeah,
if he doesn't have a hilarious collapse.
But I don't see him...
No cup.
No,
cup
there's no precedent for him to win back-to-back. I don't think he's that strong yet. And it's his debut. Yeah. Very few Ozekis win on their debut.
Yeah, for him, his goalpost, first off, it's 8 wins, just to prove it. And then it's double-digit wins. Like, the cup doesn't even enter into it.
Right. He's not in the state yet to be going for the cup. My dark horse is Takakeisho.
Ooh.
Now, Takakeisho's got a lot working against him. He's Kadoban. He got COVID. But the injury shouldn't be an issue. The injury seemed like it was cured while the tournament was still going on, so he just decided to stay out and get healed. So COVID could affect him, but let's say it doesn't. Takakeisho is very, very motivated to start winning again, especially with Mitakeumi being the new Ozeki. That's going to fuel him more than anything else. Because they have a rivalry. Takakeisho's been in there longer. He leapfrogged over Mitakeumi. He wants to prove, clear Kadoban, but also prove he belongs where he is. He is top Ozeki. That's what he wants.
The fire. Everything seems to click. Nobody's looking at Shodai and Takakeisho right now. Everybody's looking at Mitakeumi. They're looking higher, they're looking lower. Because they're looking at Terunofuji, looking at Mitakeumi, they're looking at Abi. Everybody's just skipping over them, and Takakeisho's
most
just
people
my
have written,
time.
Yeah, most people have written Takakeisho off at this point, and I understand why, and they could be completely right. That's why he gets the dark horse spot and not the main spot. He could do something interesting in this tournament.
That's very fascinating. Oh, now I'm hyped. I'm pumped.
Unfortunately, I predict that we're gonna have more Kyujos than one.
Probably. The
COVID thing is one thing.
It's going to hit someone, yeah.
Either there'll be a new COVID infection, or some of these guys, they're not going to be in good enough shape. And they're just not going to want to do it. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be totally wrong, but I just got a feeling we're going to have a bunch of hobbled together.
Tumultuous people not fighting at 100% or not fighting at all. But there is a lot of energy in this list. There's a lot of interesting things that are going to happen.
So no matter what, it will be the Stormy Basho. It will be exciting. We'll be watching all 15 days. Hope to catch you guys on the recap show. We'll let you know if it's going to be... I'll put it in the comment section for this video, whether or not we're going to do a live stream or not. We will decide that right beforehand. So go back to this video if you want to know if there's going to be a live stream. I'll put it as the top comment. Other than that, have fun. Enjoy another Sumo 2 weeks. And we'll catch you soon.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.